Welcome to Tradutex Portuguese Lessons Podcast. On this episode, we're going to talk about the demonstratives this and these in Portuguese. But just before that, I want to tell you that Tradutex Portuguese Lessons Podcast is now on Patreon. I want to thank to my patrons, Francine Brown, Gita Barknovitz, Philip French, Rebecca Hunt, and Audrey Jenkins for their support. Muito obrigada. You can also become a patron if you want to support this podcast to carry on, and if you want to get exclusive content that will help you through your learning process. As a patron, you can also get the possibility of asking questions, read every week posts about the Portuguese language, join a WhatsApp group, and also get weekly chapters of a Portuguese audiobook. Go to www.patreon.com/tradutex and learn more about it. So on today's episode, we're going to talk about demonstratives this and these in Portuguese. In English, we have these two words, this, if it's singular, to refer to something that it is close to you. For instance, this chair, this room, this dog, or these to talk about something that it's close to you, but this time plural. These pens, these chairs, these dogs, these houses. In Portuguese, it's slightly more complicated than that. We do have first to tell the difference between the word isto and the words este, esta, estes, estas, because all these 5 words will translate this and these. So let's take it slowly, and let's first talk about the words we use when we actually follow the demonstrative by the name of the object we are referring. For instance, when you say this chair or this house or this person or this dog, how do we do that in Portuguese? Okay, so first of all, in Portuguese, you need to remember that we change the endings of words depending on the gender, masculino e feminino, or if the things are singular or plural. So if you want to say, for instance, let's take an easy example you're familiar with already. Let's say, for instance, this car. So notice that after the demonstrative this, I have the word car. And if that's the case in Portuguese, we need to use one of the 4 possibilities that I will now explain. So the first one, the masculine singular one, is the word este. And obviously I will need to spell this one for you because it's not obvious at all. So let me spell it. Como se escreve? How do we spell it? Como se escreve? E-S-T-E. And how do we pronounce it? Start with the sound E. Este. Drop the last E at the end, as always. Este. Okay, so este is masculine and it is singular. Masculino e singular. And is the one we should use if the following word is also masculino e singular. For instance, the word for car, carro, it's masculine and singular. So if you want to say this car, this is the one you should use. Este carro. Let me repeat. Este carro. What happens if the word I'm using is now feminine and singular? Let's take one you know, the word casa, for house. So if I want to say this house, I'm still doing singular, but now I changed into feminine. So instead of the word este, that we've just used with the word carro, este carro, now I change the ending and I get the word esta. Esta casa. Esta casa. Esta casa. So, como se escreve? How do we spell it? S-T-A. Okay, so far so good. It makes sense. You have the word this that covers all the singular words, and in Portuguese we have, as usual, a masculine this, este, and a feminine this, esta. Este carro, esta casa. Okay, let's move on to the plural cases. So pick the same words, car and house, but now let's make the plural of this. So in English you get these cars, these houses. So we have one word to be the plural of the word this. In Portuguese, you can guess, we have two. We have the word estes. So we start with the sound ish, and we finish with the sound ch, estes. How do we spell it? Como se escreve? E-S-T-E-S. Estes. And that will be the one you should use for all masculine plural words. So if you say these cars, estes carros, estes carros. And now you can guess that if you want to change this into feminine, what you need to do is to swap the ending. Instead of estes, we will have estas. Como se escreve? E-S-T-A-S. Estas. So if you want to say these houses, estas casas. Okay, so let's just recap. If we follow the words this or these immediately by the name of the object we're referring to, we have four possibilities, quatro possibilidades em português. So we have four possibilities in Portuguese: este, esta, estes, estas. Let's repeat with the examples we've just seen. Este carro, esta casa, estes carros, estas casas. Okay, and these four possibilities that I've just taught you are good when the demonstratives are followed by the name of the object we are referring to. What happens if the word that we refer, it's not the word that comes immediately after the word this or these? What do I mean? Think about something like, what is this? Or, this is a car. So when I say, what is this? The word of the object is not there. And when I say, this is a car, the word that comes after the word this is not the word car, is the verb is. So in English, that doesn't make much of a difference. We still use the same words, this or these. In Portuguese, though, we have a different word, and that word is the word isto. Isto. Como se escreve isto? I-S-T-O. And this word, and this is not very common in Portuguese, but we could nearly call it a bit of a neutral word, because this word could be used to refer to whatever, masculine, feminine, singular, or plural. Are you surprised? Yes, this word works a bit differently from all the other words in Portuguese that we've seen so far. So if you want to say something, I don't know, hold something in your hand, you don't know what it is, and you say, what is this? The word we should use in Portuguese is the word isto. So what is this should be o que. Those two words together mean what? O que é is isto, this. O que é isto? What is this? So why can't I use este or esta or estes or estas like we've done before? because to use those 4 words, they need to be followed by the name of the thing you're referring to. If that's not the case, so now we need to use this other one, the word isto. Also, if you want to say something like, oh, this is a pen, for instance, we go isto é. Notice that the word that follows the word this is not the name of the object, but a verb. So that's why in Portuguese we're using isto. Isto é uma caneta, a pen. Isto é uma caneta. So whatever object I'm referring to, masculine, feminine, singular or plural, isto is a good option as long as the name of the object, it's not the one that follows immediately the word for isto. So if I say this is a pen, I say isto é uma caneta. But if I want to say these are 2 pens, I still say isto, but now I need to change the verb. Instead of é, I get são, are. So isto são canetas. You might have noticed that caneta, meaning pen, is a feminine word, but if I'm talking about something masculine, it goes exactly the same way. So this is a car. Isto é carro. These are 3 cars. Isto são 3 carros. So isto é or isto são, followed by the name of the object, whether it is a masculine, a feminine, a singular, or a plural object. Also good to use when we ask a question. What is this? O que é isto? Surprised? We have this difference between isto and then the other 4 ones I've explained you. Este, esta, estes, estas. There is another situation where will we use the este, esta, estes, estas. When in English, you use the expression this one or these ones. For instance, do you like these pens? Oh, I prefer these ones. So, gostas destas canetas? Ah, eu prefiro estas. So if in English you have this one or these one, we can also use este, esta, estes, or estas. Even though they are not followed by the name of the object, we have one or ones in English to guide us. Okay, so we have 5 words to translate this or these, and they're not exactly the same because they depend on the situation we're using them, and they might also depend, in the case of este, esta, estes, estas, on the gender of the word and on the singular or plural word we're using. I will repeat the words and I will give you examples so to make it clear, and we can consolidate this on this episode. So I use isto to refer something that it is close to me that I can point and touch. So for instance, if you want to order something in a cafe and you don't know the name, you can point at that whatever cake or sandwich or whatever it is, and you can say something like, I would like this. Queria isto. Queria isto. Still remember queria for I would like? Queria isto. Prefiro isto. I would prefer this. Prefiro isto. Okay. So isto is ideal if you don't know the name of the thing, if you want to ask what is this, o que é isto, or if you want to explain, oh, this is something, so follow the isto with the verb é, isto é bolo, this is a cake, isto é uma caneta, this is a pen, isto é lápis, this is a pencil. One thing it's important to know about the word isto. This word is good to referring to all sorts of objects, masculine and feminine, singular or plural, but it's not good to talk about people. If we talk about people, we must use este, estes, estas. This is the only exception you need to remember. So now The ones that actually vary, we have este. Este carro é meu. This car is mine. Esta. Esta caneta é azul. This pen is blue. Estes. Estes carros são rápidos. These cars are quick. Estas. Estas mesas são grandes. These tables are big. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you did, don't forget to share with your friends or to like. And I'll see you next week. Até para a semana. Muito obrigada. Tchau.